This episode of Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Luca Perich, and you are listening to the Capes and the Lunatic Sidekicks podcast.
It's Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Should be stronger time. Sells to your Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Should be stronger time. Sells to your. Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Should be stronger time. Sells to your Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Wade's World. Should be stronger time. Sells to your.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wade's World. It's me, Phil, again, and of course, I'm joined every episode by Miss Lilith Hellfire.
Hey y'all.
And we have a special guest tonight because, of course, Deadpool 1 hit today. So please put your hands together for Miss Kelly Thompson.
Woo! Yeah.
Thanks for having me back.
Hey, thanks for coming back. I mean, you haven't seemed to get sick of us yet.
No, I always have a good time.
All right. So Deadpool number 1 came out today.
Did indeed.
Yes. So
Finally.
yeah, I know they kept pushing you back.
Yeah, we got pushed back, what, a week or two, maybe?
I think they did a week like 2 times. I think maybe.
Yeah, and then now, I don't know if you guys saw, but I just saw that they pushed 2 till January and 3 till February.
Oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I think Chris just, he's just, genius takes time, man. I don't know what to tell you. We had a lot of runway, but I think part of the problem was that he still had a lot of projects he was sort of closing up as he took this on. And, I think everyone wanted to wait for him. I think Marvel originally wanted this to start in October, but we all knew that to get Chris on board, we'd have to start a little later. And I think we just should have started a little later, but there's also a thing with artists, and I think it's probably true of writers as well. It's harder to be critical of myself, but there's a thing where sometimes you can't keep moving the deadline to get started because, especially for a number 1, because somehow it keeps just not getting done. So at some point, I assume Marvel's got a thing where they're like, nope, we're doing it in November. It's happening. And so, yeah, it's a little bit of a bummer that, I don't like going dark for a month on a new series, but it will be worth the wait. I'm seeing what he's doing, and it's really incredible.
It might be a blessing
than issue 1, just because he's had a chance to really get into it, and he's been working on it for so long that he's really feeling it. It's awesome. It's really gorgeous.
It might be a blessing in disguise because it seems like there's like a bunch of events happening in December, like the 2099 stuff and the Conan
it's easy
thing.
to get crowded out by that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Also, even though I know that Marvel, I don't know how DC feels about it, but I know Marvel likes to have some books Christmas week to have something on the board and give people something to go into the shops for and everything. I know that's good for retailers too, but I don't know. I don't really want Deadpool number 2 on the Christmas week day.
Oh yeah, it's actually Christmas. Wednesday is actually Christmas Day, so I don't know how they're going to handle that.
Yeah. So anyway, so it'll be worth the wait. It'll be worth the wait. I hope you guys liked it. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like the whole monster angle, but yeah. Before we jump into the specifics, I wanted to ask you, I'm sure it's very different writing Deadpool because everyone, you're writing Captain Marvel now. I might ask you about that in a little bit. And even when you're writing Kate Bishop, I mean, these characters could throw out one-liners every so often, but they don't have the sick, twisted sense of humor that Deadpool has. So, what's your process for writing someone like Deadpool?
Well, it can be hard, honestly. I mean, there was a time where I was writing a lot of books, and it was like all of them, except for sort of Jessica Jones, were all really hardly skewing comedy books. And like, that's fun. And that's sort of my default voice, and like where I come from as a writer is at least comedy mixed with something. But that can be a hard thing if you're not feeling great, you know, if you're depressed or like literally something's happened in your life that's, you know, making you sad or whatever. It can be hard to like force yourself into that sort of funny mode. Fortunately for me, Captain Marvel is very dark right now. So there's at least some variety there as far as if you don't feel like you're in the mood for Deadpool, you don't necessarily have to go there. But I had a really bad October, and so I'm really behind. And so my deadlines have just been insane this month as I try to catch up. And, you know, Deadpool 3, I just turned in a little while ago, and I was having a really hard time that week. And I turned it in, and I was like, I think this is good, but I'm just not sure. And my editor, Jake, came back to me. He was like, man, I laughed throughout the whole thing. He's like, what a great script. He's like, it was really funny. And I was like, man, that's such a relief, because I was not feeling funny. So like, as a writer, it was like a huge, wonderful moment for him to like unprompted go on about how funny he thought it was, because I was like, I was not in the right headspace for it. And I gutted it out and I made it happen, and it worked. So I was really happy about that, because it can be tricky. I try to use music as cues to help, but it doesn't always work. I think it's fairly effective, but it's not foolproof.
Do you ever like watch or listen to any like comedy or anything before you dive into a Deadpool?
You know, funny, I didn't think about doing it deliberately, but I did watch last week, right when I needed to be writing this. I did watch the new Seth Meyers comedy special that was on Netflix. So I guess I did, even without realizing it, you know?
And I like, we got a Gwenpool appearance, and Jeff the Shark from West Coast Avengers.
Yeah. You know, I selfishly, I didn't want to let go of that character, but more than that, I was just worried it was a character that would get dropped. Not just because of the sort of meta way we dealt with it in our book, where we didn't know if she was going to have a book or not, but just because even if she does have a book, you don't know if anyone wants to pick that up or not. And he's my baby, and I love him, and fans really sort of seem to respond. But more than anything, it was just that it made sense. Like, I loved the meta excuse Gwenpool gave for bringing him into Deadpool's narrative, and then he's living on an island of monsters. Like, where better to raise a baby shark? I mean, still a little dangerous, but Jeff can sort of take care of himself. So
he's going to be a supporting character then?
Yeah,
yes,
he will definitely be there, sort of, I mean, for as long as it makes sense.
And is Elsa Bloodstone showing up again, or
She is. Yes. She's going to be appearing throughout the first 4. That's the first arc. It's sort of an ebb and flow, because she's not really an invited guest necessarily. So she's sort of making things tough on Wade in some ways and helping him in others. It's sort of a confusing relationship initially, especially for him. It feels a little bit like she knows exactly what she wants and is just doing whatever she wants, and he's sort of at the whim of that, which he doesn't love. And then she will be in 5. I don't know about 6. And then they're actually going to have an arc where she's around, like, in a more deliberate way that's like more tied to the plot, that's like sort of about the two of them doing a thing. So they've got a really great chemistry together. I mean, when I first started realizing she should be in the book because of the monster angle, I wasn't really sure how that relationship was going to go, but she they just really had great chemistry together. It was really interesting, and so had a good time. It was sort of organic and fun.
And as a big Spider-Man fan, thank you for that last page. I mean, well, I don't know. I want to spoil it, but
Don't.
Okay. It's not it's not Spider-Man, but it's a villain.
I just want to say, like, what a relief it was that it seems very self-contained and that it seems very new reader friendly, because I believe this is what Deadpool's 9th #1. So I really did appreciate and enjoy that. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, we always try to make that pretty accessible. Deadpool certainly is one of the trickiest characters for that, although, you know, Jerry Dugan had a really great run.
Totally changed it. Yeah.
With the memory clearing and stuff, I think he sort of tried to be very generous in how he left it for future people writing Deadpool stories, but it's tough.
It's been recovering. We all as Deadpool fans know it's kind of recovered from that very drastic shift and change. But I think, like, and I don't want this to sound like, I don't know if you're going to find it offensive, but I think just from this issue, I got a lot of Gail Simone and Joe Kelly vibes, where it's going to be like, you just know it's going to be a fun ride.
Oh, good. So, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, listen, he should definitely be fun. Like, you know, the whole point of the character is using that comedy to mask pain. So that comedy needs to work and be funny. But I also don't want to rely 100% on the comedy because, you know, not everybody's sense of humor is the same, and you can't be sure. Jokes are always going to be landing, so you need other stuff there as well to anchor it, like his existential angst and sort of questions for himself about, you know, who he is in the world, who he is in this new role, and sort of these, and making you care about these sort of other characters. So, you know, hopefully it all works together into enjoyable whole.
And honestly, after that whole Dawn of X overhaul, while I am enjoying that, I like that this is kind of more familiar territory, that didn't affect anything on the Deadpool side. So that was just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was definitely a question when they were first doing that of whether Deadpool should be a part of the X stuff that's happening right now, and the final decision was sort of to keep them separate. And so, you know, we might touch on stuff in the future, but it's largely it's separate. So, and even though I believe Wade is a mutant in the MCU, like that's how they painted him. I mean, technically in the comics,
yeah,
that's actually not true. But I don't think that's well publicized. Like, I mean, because
gentle.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if they still want to play fast and loose with it. It's a little gray area. I mean, I made an argument that's holding on to him as not being a mutant in the comics is tough, because even people who are really involved in comics, a lot of people think he's a mutant. And so why are we fighting that battle? Like, maybe he just should be. And I don't really know what you lose in that, because he's never going to be a character that wants to like slot into the X-Men world in like an easy way anyway. Like, he doesn't fit, and he knows it, and everyone knows it. And so I'm not sure what you lose by letting him be a mutant, because I think you still retain the Deadpool stuff. So I don't know, if there was a vote called today, I would say we should retcon it to the Marvel universe, to the cinematic universe, and well, the Fox now cinematic universe, I guess. I don't know. And let him be a mutant, just because it's easier, like, to sort of unify fans behind that.
Do it, Kelly. Have him storm Krakoa and be like, make me a mutant.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty great moment if you leave it. Sorry, my cat is being so difficult. Come on now. Stop it. I think it's a pretty great moment if you actually have him in comics not really knowing for sure whether he's a mutant or not, and having him walk through one of those gates, and then having them be like, no, like, you should, yes, technically you can be here, but you should really leave. Like, we don't want this brand of chaos here. You're not going to follow the rules. We know it. Like, just go away. I sort of like him being cast as the ultimate misfit in that way.
Yeah, and I mean, you brought Jeff the Shark in, so when are we getting your other favorites, Rogue and Gambit?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a story I'd like to do there. I mean, I think...
You gotta let the smoke clear, Philip.
I know, second arc, third arc, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a great bit of like a done-in-one for them that I'd really like to do, but I've got to line it up with what's going on in Teenie Howard's Excalibur, and and I also want to make sure he's standing on his own, you know, so it's got to be a little way down the line.
I definitely think with your writing style and Chris's artistic, like non-traditional layouts and like camera angles, very like uniquely visual experience, and I'm just really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the next one. I think you guys are like a really good team so far. So
Thank you so much.
And we're spoiled.
So did you pick Chris, or did they kind of like say, you know, like did they just throw you into a room and say make magic?
You know, the funny thing was, I wanted Chris, and everyone was like, he would be amazing. We don't know if he's available. You know, also, when you have Chris, you know, it's a very, working with Chris is different than working with just any artist. And he brings to the table so much, but it's a different experience. And they were like, we know we need more runway, both because of his speed and because of the stuff he's got on his plate. And he's also very expensive. So you have to have the budget for that, you know, rightly so. And so the feeling going into the summit, when I was pitching to the room, when I was telling everyone what I was doing with it, the feeling was definitely that we weren't going to be able to get Chris. There were sort of too many things up in the air, and then the budget was just the biggest concern. Like, we don't know how well it's going to do. That's a risk. Like, you know, it's not going to work. And I went into the summit, and honestly, guys, I fucking killed it. I did such a good presentation. Everyone was super excited about it and into it. Like the writers and then sort of the higher ups, the people who make these decisions. And my editor, Jake, was like, oh, that was so great. He's like, man, people really got into it. Like they're loving it. And then sure enough, out of that summit, he was like, I think there's enough excitement that maybe we're going to get Chris back on the board. I'm sorry, 1 second. Monarch, stop doing that. Sorry. Cats are just... I had the door shut, but then they're just crying at the door. So now they're in here, which is awesome. So yeah, so we came out of that summit, and it was like we'd done so well in the room that Chris was suddenly an option again. And I mean, once they said that, we were like, yes, we want him if we can get him. Because I mean, you know, it's like artists bring so much. God, they're so important, and I've been really lucky. I get really great artists, probably because I'm a pain in the ass about it. But I figure that if that's the thing editors have to complain about with me, that it's worth it. Like, I'm willing to be considered a little bit difficult if it's for something as important as art. And I just knew with Chris, it would be so special. Like he lends such a very specific sensibility and style. And I knew with the monster stuff in particular, like he's the best there is at that kind of stuff. So,
and he just seems like the perfect fit, because I know back in the day, like I read his X-Men stuff, and even more recently he did some Spider-Man stuff. So yeah, I mean, Deadpool seems like a perfect fit.
Yeah.
And okay.
Look, I know you're super busy, Kelly. I just have to say this because, like I said, I really, like last time that we talked, I really love Jim and the Holograms. Can you and Sophie please find some time, please,
to do anything
together? To do anything, or you know, specifically Jim and the Holograms. But I'll take anything at this point. I thought you guys did really, like, you guys had really great synergy together on that whole Jim and the Holograms thing, and I know there's a ton of fans out there that feel the same way, so I just have to get that off my chest.
No,
I've done my deed, guys.
I appreciate it. I think the problem with teaming up with Sophie, you know, Sophie and I are friends, but the problem with teaming up with Sophie is she doesn't need me. You know, she writes her own stuff, and she not only does it in creator owned, but you know, even now she's doing this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff. why I'm just like dead weight for Sophie. Like, she doesn't need me. I would love to work with her again. I think she's a genius and she's my friend, which is that can be a bad thing sometimes. We did pretty well.
You guys worked on Turtles. You could be the new Eastman and Laird, though. It'd be awesome.
I would be so. I would have really nothing to add to that. I mean, I like the Turtles a lot. Who doesn't? Who loves comics? But I mean, Sophie, she would just look at the project and be like, why do I need Kelly? I know everything about the Turtles and I'm the artist who's brilliant. Like, what is she bringing to the table? So, and she'd be right.
I tried, guys. I tried. Did my part.
All right, fine. Since you threw out Gem and the Holograms, I'm going to throw out the other book that came out today, Captain Marvel number 12.
Yeah.
Which,
it was a big one.
Which... Did I see people are giving you crap online about this? I'm just like, it's part one.
I mean, I'm sure people are. It's actually been not that bad. I think some of that is because I've curated my Twitter list at this point pretty well. So a lot of the people who are going to be unreasonable or assholes about it have already been muted. So I'm not actually seeing that much bad blowback, but I'm sure there is some.
I mean, I don't know if it's just that shock ending, but I'm just like, it's part one. Yeah. I think you said it's a 5-part series. I was just like, all right, I'm just upset that I'm like, man, am I gonna have to wait 4 more issues for answers?
No, you'll get answers in the next issue.
Okay, good.
Which actually isn't even a full month because I think it comes out like the 13th or something. So it's only like 3 weeks. The
11th.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, listen. First of all, anyone that actually thinks Thor is dead, is it your first fucking comic book? Like,
I know.
There's a big series starting in January, and I'm pretty sure Donny Cates is writing Thor with a head. So don't be.
Headless Thor can be like you're the comic book version of that Thor.
Would he notice the difference?
All the promo has him with a head, so I'm guessing he'll have it.
I know. I'm just like, yeah, Marvel's gonna let Kelly kill off Thor.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Like, if they're gonna let someone kill Thor, it's not gonna be me that they're gonna let do that. So yeah, I mean, to me, and it's funny because there was like a big back and forth at Marvel, and this was sort of exactly how I wanted to do this issue, and I got some pushback, which sometimes pushback can be good because it really makes you think about what you're doing or if it's the right way or whatever. And there was some pushback, and they're like, well, that ending's not going to work because people know Thor isn't really going to be dead. Like, they've seen the dead character trick too many times. I was like, well, but that's not the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is, what the fuck is going on? Like, what's the mystery? I know he can't be dead as a reader. So what is it? Like, what's going to be the reveal? I was like, that's what we're betting on, not, oh, Thor's definitely dead. And like, that's the most upsetting thing I've ever read. Like, sure, I'm sure there are a few people out there who are new to comics, or I don't know, who are just really, really gullible. I don't know, who might believe that, but most comic readership is way too savvy for that. So I was like, that's not the cliffhanger. The cliffhanger is what the hell is happening and how are we going to solve it? Mm-hmm. How do we get him back, or what's the trick, or what's why, and also the why of it all, of why is it all happening? And you'll get a lot of that in 13, which is exactly how I wanted to do it, and I'm glad it's working out.
I thought it was really cool how much the fight scene took up of the book, because usually it's just like a couple of pages of the punch 'em up stuff, but like I appreciated how long you drew it out. I don't know if it's just me, but I enjoyed that.
Yeah, thank you. It was really important to me, and I asked Lee if he was on board. I was like, this is going to be a really different Captain Marvel issue. It's going to be really a lot less writing, a lot less, captions and interior monologue, and a lot less dialogue. And it's going to be basically one huge extended fight scene with a tiny cap at the end of something else. And, I think it's the fight scene that Captain Marvel and Thor deserve, right? So let's do it. Let's do it right.
And I just have to say, big compliment. Lilith Hellfire is usually not even that big of a fan of Carol Danvers, and like, I think you said you're enjoying Kelly's Captain Marvel, right, Lil?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am. I don't read it like on a issue to issue. Sometimes I wait a couple of issues just because I don't like to wait. So now I'm just like, but I can't wait for the next issue. So like I have to pick up the next one. So congratulations, ma'am.
I feel very proud. Thank you so much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Carol.
Yeah, it feels like you get like I don't know, like I don't want to sound like weird, but I just like when women write women characters. I think that just brings an extra something, and I think that's something Captain Marvel had been like lacking for a couple of years, which is like kind of just turned me off. So yeah,
by women though. I mean,
yeah.
But I think Carol can be a tough character. She's not. I
like the refresh you gave her because she was definitely in need of an overhaul.
Yeah, a little prickly, I think. Like the military sort of approach to things, and like also, there's like a thing where like, oh, you're the most powerful person around, which can wear on people, or they can get weary of it. But I tried my best to make her to like tap into what I feel is really relatable about her and like accessible. Some of that is a little bit of humor. I mean, she's not like a Deadpool cracking jokes type of character, but like, most people in the world are funny in some way or another. Like there's lightness in them. And so drawing that out and using it as a way to create sort of affection for that character, by like, oh, I like that she's saying that, or I like how she's being with these other people. Like she seems like a good person. Like, just sort of drawing out all those little things that sometimes I do think can get lost in Carol. I mean, Carol does suffer a lot from, it's not the same as the Wonder Woman problem, but it's in the same ballpark where she's sort of really available on the pedestal for criticism. And so she can't ever be wrong or bad because she gets called on that just like in a really aggressive way that I think doesn't happen with a lot of her male counterparts. Mm-hmm. But it's not interesting for a character to never be wrong or bad. Like that's not relatable. It's not an interesting story to tell. So, you've got to find that balance of where interesting has to meet compelling and how do we make that likable at the same time so that people sort of fall in love with her, because that's what makes them come back to comics, So I'm glad if it's working for you.
She does seem like a very normal, like she seems like a normal person, just with a lot of power.
Just a little more power than average.
Yeah. Oh, does that mean, could we eventually see a crossover between Deadpool and Captain Marvel?
I mean, they would actually be, nobody has been asking me for that, but it's funny because I think they would be a really interesting mix, because a lot of what makes, I find people always want to put the same characters together. Like, they're like, oh, they'd be so funny together. And you're like, actually, no, they're very the same, those characters. Like, it would work better if you put them, sort of odd couple them with someone who's a bigger contrast, Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons why I think Black Widow is fun to play with, because she's a very different character. She's very laconic. She's not a joke-cracking character, but if you put her with a joke-cracking character, it does interesting things to them both. And I do think Carol and Deadpool would have that, where, yeah, it would be fun. So there's no real plan for a crossover, but she would be fun in his book, or he would be fun in hers. They would cause a lot of chaos in different ways. That would be fun.
Yeah, I think we were talking about that before. Like the Spider-Man Deadpool team up book was fun, but yeah, it a lot of times it is a lot more fun to have him play off like a more serious character, and Carol, with her military background, would be like a more serious character for him to play off of.
Yeah, that she's sort of not having it. Yeah. I have to say, I do really like Deadpool and Spider-Man. I think a lot of people have done it really well. And I think there's some fun in, they're both in red. They've both got those big expressive eyes. They're both, very sort of unkillable, although in very different ways. And then they're just, Peter is a Boy Scout and Wade is the polar opposite of that. And so those are fun things, again, to push and pull on. It's part of the reason I think that works. But yeah, throwing in a Black Widow or a Captain Marvel or someone who's really straight-laced is fun with Deadpool. So,
and I don't know how much you want to give away, but Lilith, I'll ask for Charlie S. Or since we're getting all these monsters, are we going to get a Mole Man maybe eventually?
I would love to do Mole Man. I think when I was asking about him before, he was off the board for some reason.
Oh.
Someone was doing
Mole Man Disney Plus series confirmed.
I can't remember what it was, and you never know what these things, if it holds or not. But yeah, I would love to get him in there if it works out. We're pretty booked up on story. I've got a small pocket for either a 1-issue or a 2-parter probably, but other than that, for like 20 issues, it's plotted out. So assuming we're doing well, we've got pretty long range plans. So
see, and if the book gets delayed, Kelly's like, I've written the first 30.
Yeah, right. Sure.
Are there any like big events you have to cross over with coming up?
Well, Deadpool is good in that they sort of let you off the hook there a little bit. Like you can get involved if you want because he's crazy and so it can work. But I don't know that they'll drag us into anything. The one thing that I know is coming, I do not think we're going to be involved in. But I do know that, we really encouraged people to, in other books, if they wanted to play with the Staten Island, Monster Island thing, that they should. So that as a concept and characters from that might be showing up in other things as we go along, which we like. I mean, we like it to, Marvel especially likes it to not feel insulated, which I think is a mix. When I was writing A-Force, which obviously didn't last very long, you would end up with all these people saying, I love that I can just read this and it's not connected to anything else. And I don't have to think about X, Y, and Z. And then you would get all these other people going, but it doesn't matter. It's not connected to anything. And so there's this real split of thought of the way these comics should be approached. And I don't honestly know how you satisfy both those readers. If there's a way, I haven't found it.
Oh, and I don't think I've asked you this. I don't think we've talked since then. Your thoughts on a Kate Bishop appearance in a Hawkeye Disney Plus series?
I mean, yeah, I think it'll be great. I think, I would hope that it'll be more of a Hawkeye's show in general, and that it won't just be an appearance. I don't know, but it seems to make sense.
I just wonder if they're going to do the first season of like Jeremy Renner training her, and then maybe he retires or something, and then it becomes like her series. Yeah,
maybe. It's definitely possible. I think the good news for Marvel is that that's all really flexible. Like you could do it any way you want. Like if you find that you're making that show and what people love about it is the dynamic between them, and they have a lot of stories for that and they don't want it to end, they can find ways to tease that out and make it last longer. If they can't hold on to Renner maybe, and they feel like they've got a way to set it up for Kate to be more solo going forward, that's certainly an option too. I think it's great. They've got so many options. I think it'll be a great show.
They might spin her in a movie, because I think they said those other series like Moon Knight and She-Hulk, like they said, oh yeah, eventually they're going to make it to the movies too.
Yeah, they saw that. It's hard to see, when you're on the outside, what their sort of designs are on this stuff. It's all so big picture,
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to even imagine with how many shows they've got. I feel like I'm not inner circle to MCU stuff, but I'm pretty inner circle to Marvel stuff. And it came as a total left field to me when they announced Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Kamala. I had no idea that was happening. And I was like, how can they have such a huge slate of stuff? It's like just an embarrassment of riches. So yeah, they can really do anything.
Nice. Anything else, Lilith, or should we let Kelly get back to the desk? She's chained to and write some more.
Her work.
I do want, we talked so much about Chris. I just want to call out, what an amazing job Lee Jarbet and Camera did on Captain Marvel 12 today. They did so much heavy lifting on that to make it work, and I just feel really lucky.
That's beautiful artwork in that issue, yeah.
I definitely enjoyed how Thor was portrayed. Like, I like the thickness of Thor. I didn't know if it was like a shout out or anything, but I did appreciate that.
I posted a page on Twitter that's when he's hits her with the hammer for the first time, and like she goes flying. And I'm trying to buy that page from Lee because it's absolutely awesome. So
I'm sure you guys can work something out.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. And I know you're so far ahead on your issues, but anytime you want to pop our name into a comic, feel free.
It's still a talking head.
It's like a legal thing. I mean, it has to like then go through Marvel Legal if you do that. So it's like a whole.
I'll sign whatever you need to sign.
All right, I'll keep it in mind. Take care, guys.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, bye.
So she emailed me like right before we jumped on. She's like, it ends up I have a limited window tonight. I'm like, yeah, no wonder,
Yeah, exactly. Poor thing. She's making it work though. We're so proud of her.
Mm-hmm. Oh my lord! But they should just like play off that one issue. Just be like, Deadpool number 10. It's the issue Kelly Thompson's cat wrote because he walked across the keyboard or something.
We definitely need a Professor Esser in a Deadpool book.
Oh yeah, I had to ask that Mole Man question because I swear they said something about Monster Island.
He would have kicked you the next time he saw you.
They said Monster Island. Oh, because I told him because he's probably gonna read it. Because I told him I said Gwenpool shows up in this issue. So
that's literally all you have to. That or Superior
breaking the fourth wall, getting all metaphysical.
See, like. Gwenpool is so confusing to me. I'm just like, she's basically just Clark Kent from DC to me, but not like, but Clark Kent isn't funny. And so like, she only has it's just a whole weird thing with Gwenpool.
she's like Deadpool, but more like unmoored. Like she can
because she got pulled in from the real
world. And it's how much do you need her to know and want to know? Yeah.
It feels very convenient plot point as PB at times, but like she is a cool character.
Yeah,
you just can't think too hard about it.
But I had to tell Charlie Esser I had to make his day. Say, hey, read Deadpool 1. Gwenpool's in it because first we lost Superior Spider-Man, and then today Loki 5 was the last issue. So
was that? I feel like that was unexpected.
I hadn't heard anything, but again, I hadn't heard any solicits for another issue after it. So. Because Charlie Esser and I did talk to the writer Daniel Kibblesmith, and he didn't say anything to us.
Probably didn't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We talked to him not too long ago. He might have known, 2 or 3 weeks ago, but.
Oh
well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to make room.
True.
Loki's gonna be doing something on Disney Plus.
I was gonna say, I'm sure he'll be back in comics, when that Disney Plus series hits.
Yeah.
Okay, but before we get to our classic Deadpool issue, did you okay, don't tell anyone this is supposed to come out Saturday, but did you see this Walking Dead that's coming out? It's like a one-shot.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. Did you read it yet?
No.
Okay. It's kind of a flashback. It takes place in Spain, but there's a connection to a famous Walking Dead character, so.
Oh, pretty cool.
So, but yeah, it's a one-shot, so. Yeah, any Walking Dead fans, I already messaged our friends in Alaska. Diane and your wife. All right.
Only if she wants to be a Florida housewife. I told you.
Put a ring on it, Lil Hellbar.
No, I'll put a champagne bottle and wine bottles in her cart.
Oh my lord.
That's all that really matters. The bubbly, not the sparkly.
All right. So before we get out of here, should we cover The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Part 3 of 5?
Yes.
Action shot.
Do it.
What? It's Wolverine. It's Wolverine and those 2 non-mutants, Captain America and Deadpool.
Steroid junkies. It's fine.
I know. But it's basically, last issue, Cap and Wolverine were on ice. Deadpool frees them, and they basically team up with the those fake created mutants.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about this issue. These issues is just like, why are we lampooning this? They lampoon themselves, you know.
I mean, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just weird because they're like fighting like North Koreans and a mad scientist.
I get that they're the axis of evil at this point. I get it.
Well, this was what 2013 too, so
yeah, we have a huge problem with North Korea, and we always will.
Yeah.
Just like secretly, we'll always have a problem with Germany hating us. It's fine. We just have to deal with it.
Unless you're David Hasselhoff. Germans love David Hasselhoff. But yeah, no, I think, I mean, as good as the problems, the good, the bad, and the ugly of this story, I think, you know, at the end of the day, they wanted an excuse to team up Deadpool, Wolverine, and Captain America.
Yeah. Which is weird. I mean, I guess not because of the movies, but
yeah,
movie Cap and comic book Cap are two different people.
Oh, give me a clean drop. Chris Evans can get it. Although I did get a good drop tonight. I think I'm going to stay tuned. I think we'll have a drop of Kelly Thompson yelling at her cat.
Monarch. That is the cutest cat name ever.
Sounds sort of naughty now that I'm saying it.
We need more Kelly Thompson drops. Although, for those of you, again, this will be airing a little bit later, but I've started making drops on my son, Lil Hellfire.
Mini Doom!
Don't judge me.
Oh my god, no.
Don't judge me.
Danielle's gonna kill you. You know that, right?
She knows.
Mark my words.
I'm trying to get her drops of her, but
that should be her ringtone, though.
I wanted her to tell you, don't judge me.
Mark my words.
All right, this one might be hard to make out, but
Bite me.
Fight me.
Fight me. Yeah.
Bite me.
Because I don't know. I guess it's the first grade mentality. What?
Oh, you gotta do Bing for quality, obviously.
Oh, are we? I don't want to put Mozzie and Zora out of work though.
Oh, what, dude? With full stream ahead, don't worry. We'll have plenty of Moz drops to come.
I know. All right, I'll play this once. I'll probably never play this button again. But Lilith Hellfire was right. I don't know.
Oh no, you'll be.
I don't know when I'll have the opportunity to play that, but
that's our theme song at this point. I can't.
Wade's World. Lilith Hellfire was right.
Party time. Anyway, I just, honestly, the Butler, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for a Deadpool antagonist in the, in the early teens, it's cool.
I mean, mad scientist.
Fire died, so
was that
was sad.
Was that like the weird? Is that like one of those like Wolverine Joker things where it's like, yeah, Deadpool's, before the experiment that gave him his healing factor, like his life is kind of like not that defined. So everyone, a lot of writers try to like be the one to add, hey, guess what happened to him back in the past,
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't be surprised if really he was just like Wolverine and he's like 1,000,000 years old. Like, somebody's gonna do it eventually. You know that, right?
Yeah, but Wolverine's like the grizzled old man. I think they want to keep Deadpool somewhat in this century, just so, his sense of humor is more like the kids.
He's gonna be 1,000,000 years old. Gonna have old man Deadpool. Wait, I feel like we've already had old man Deadpool.
Oh my lord, he's gonna be making jokes about stuff sagging or drooping.
Can't be like Ralph Disney.
Oh, we'll get to that tomorrow.
Oh, yes, we will, sir.
But
I don't know. Like I said, it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like the writers and the artists had fun. I just don't know if they were thinking of us, the audience, while they were doing this little jaunt.
I mean,
That's all.
I don't know if just I don't want to say the pacing, but just it just seemed like maybe not so much this part, but in other parts, like, you know, they're going for the humor, but it gets like dark.
Again, it's Jerry Dugan.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you know, look at Kelly Thompson.
He took a complete left turn. Like, we thought the Christopher Priest took a left turn. No, my friend. He took a complete left turn. And, you know, I can appreciate what he did. He saw a vision and he went after it. And it was definitely something different. It definitely shook up the status quo. But I do still feel like Marvel hasn't made a new status quo. Because that was a long run. You know what I mean?
I mean, look at Kelly Thompson's issue today. I mean, Deadpool's getting like, you know, he's getting ripped in half. He's getting. Yeah,
I definitely love the hyper violence, but
it's still fun.
It.
Yeah, it's still fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Him and a shark go get ice cream.
But it's Jeff. Everybody loves Jeff.
Oh yeah, everyone loves Jeff. I was gonna say.
Literally, I think every single review was like, "Oh my god, it's Jeff the shark, the land shark." Yes, like literally every single review.
Oh, I know. That's what she said. Oh yeah, I had to bring him back. I love him. I'm like, yeah, everyone, you know,
everybody loves me. Yeah.
And she's like, you
and
know,
I don't feel like, you know, that this run necessarily has a Jeff the Land Shark kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
He definitely created a new like little side characters and stuff, and then like out of nowhere this weird enemy. We'll get there eventually, but it is like, when you are looking back, like, this is probably like definitely the turning point where he's like, let's see what I can get away with. Let's see how far I can push this envelope. That's what I feel like this whole run was about.
Yeah,
it started right about.
And it's like with Captain America and Wolverine, you can only go so far because, you know,
before somebody drops the hammer.
Well, they're such defined characters, and like they have their own books and stuff, and it's like, so it's like, I love like Kelly Thompson, you know, she brings in Jeff, she created Jeff, he's not, like she said, he's not appearing anywhere else. She can do whatever she wants with him. Even Elsa Bloodstone, I mean, she's not appearing in 20 different books, so again, she can pretty much do whatever she wants with her.
Exactly. So like when it's like a cameo like this, yes, it feels like a cash grab. And like sometimes a cash grab, you go, it's a cash grab, but then like there's an actual story and heart to it. No, I feel like this is definitely a cash grab.
Yes. Some
weird editorial mandate. Wolverine and Captain America have to be in all books this month.
Oh, especially 2013. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we were getting Fox X-Men movies, we're getting MCU movies, Deadpool. Well, we didn't have a movie yet, but it was coming.
Yeah. So that, I think that's just what this suffers from. Like, I just can't shake that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And the story definitely doesn't rise above that feeling. So, like I said, it's still decent.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we've been there, done that before. We didn't need to do it again. That's all. Solid C+. Just average. It's an average Deadpool book.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it could have used more, like, violence. Like, at that point.
True.
I mean, if you're gonna go one way if you're gonna go down a dark road with Deadpool, at least give me my gore and my grotesque, you know?
Yeah, especially you got Wolverine and Deadpool in the same book. Yeah, gotta have blood splatter.
Never forget. Wolverine is a vicious little animal.
So yeah, if you want to compare the two of them, yeah, the Kelly Thompson Deadpool #1 much better than Deadpool 17 from 2013.
Yeah. Although I don't mind the art in this one, to be honest.
Oh no.
But like I said, the story just I don't know why we're doing. I don't know why we're here. I wish I could ask Mr. Dugan, or maybe Brian Posehn could explain.
Oh, maybe one day I'm gonna have to try to track them down. Lilith Hellfire wants a word with you.
I just have some questions, sir.
Explain yourself, sir. I don't know.
Oh, I did like was it Wolverine? I urge you not to listen to Cap and keep fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Captain America, your camp has fallen. I urge you to surrender. You don't need to die tonight. Like, yeah, that sounds like Captain America, actually.
All right, should we get out of here?
Yes, let's do.
Good,
sir.
We got a lot of Deadpool this episode. We got random nonsense because we were talking other comics, so...
It was tangential.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's Kelly Thompson, so we talked Kelly Thompson books, yeah. I know. So see, another great Christmas present for you people.
Forgot about the Spider-Man thing.
What's Spider-Man thing?
You said you wanted to ask her something about what was the Spider-Man book she was part of?
Full circle. Yes. Oh.
Dang it!
That's all right. Maybe we get her back for.
You're supposed to have your notes, Philip.
I know.
Be more professional next time.
Maybe. Well, maybe we'll have to get her back for an Ultimate Spider Cast.
Definitely. Whenever her schedule clears in 4 years from now.
We'll be like, Kelly. Well, again, she's writing so many books. Maybe they're like, yeah, let's put her on a book with a bunch of other creators so she doesn't have to carry the load herself.
So much burden.
Because that was a big, thick $10 book.
Ooh, kind of think about it. They should every so often do Spider-Man, Deadpool one-shots, and she should write them. I just solved their problem.
I mean, it's not like he's on the other side of the world. He's in Staten Island. He's, Spider-Man's in New York. He's not that far away.
He can swim on over.
And again, that last page.
Yeah, that was so cute to me. I was just like, oh.
It's 1998 all over again.
Seriously.
I love it. There's going to be, well, I was going to say a certain joke, but then I'll give it away who it is. Never mind. Deadpool will make fun of his attire.
We'll wait till next time.
Deadpool would make fun. I hope Deadpool makes fun of his attire again.
Yes, it's unavoidable.
Oh yeah. All right, let's get out of here. All right, everyone, send your thoughts. Again, nice Christmas present for you. We got to talk to Miss Kelly Thompson. Again,
you're welcome.
You're welcome. Was that Staten Island? Was that your Staten Island accent? Anyway, send your Wade's Miss Christmas lists, and hey, go check out. It's on social media. The Capes and Lunatics and Capes and Lunatic Sidekicks Christmas recommendations list for you guys. I tried to spice in stuff from like all of the various shows we do for over the 2 podcasts. I believe for Wade's World, I put you see the set of like, it's like 2 big Nerf guns. They're like Deadpool guns.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was like, yes.
I have to get Luca that and then just tell Danielle to record casually as you get bombarded.
Dad, in your face! You know what, Love Hellfire?
Bite me.
So cute.
Don't judge me.
That's Philip. He feels judged all the time.
I know. Oh, I said to him, I even said, hey, if I come up with more stuff, can I record you? He's like, of course. All right. So send your thoughts, dirty limericks, anything to capesandlunatics@gmail.com. Call the voicemail.
The man started.
Whoa. Okay, Kelly Thompson. Call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. Check out all of our social media links at Linktree. That's linktr.ee/Capes-Lunatics. And remember to support our sponsors, Hunt a Killer, Pod Life the book, featuring myself and other writers. If you want to know the ins and outs of the podcasting life, get Pod Life. I just hear Master Doom going, preach, preach.
Dance, my pretty puppet, dance.
We're going to have Master Doom and Mini Doom. All right, Lilith Hellfire, Queen of the Monsters. Where can people get a hold of you?
Hentai, yes.
Spark.
You nerds want to talk about hentai, you can find me on the interwebs at Lilith Hellfire, and then over on the gram at Lilith Hellfire 69, just for my Capes and Lunatics and Sidekicks peeps.
Making sweet, sweet love to the timeline.
That's for tomorrow. Hello, Megan.
I love to sleep and drink.
Dance, my puppets. All right, so save on some editing here. Thank you, everyone. It's been another episode. Hey, this is episode 94. We're racing to 100. Oh my lord, I should have told her to use Charlie Esser's name in Deadpool. It's Staten Island, Jersey. You're gonna drive Staten Island. How much would Charlie Esther love me if I convinced Kelly Thompson to like have him shaking hands with the Mole Man or something?
You know we should have done? We should have had Charlie do the Joker dance on the stairs. Very close. The boss needed to meet him on the stairs and do the thing.
Maximum effort, zero common sense.
It's the way you like it.